So this video is going to be about like realistic growth and the potential and what your potential could be to get there and become financially independent. In one of the posts I just posted, my last video, I talked about you know uh, and not business and capitalism in general, not being a zero sum game. And some people might be asked like, what is a zero sum game? Basically it means like only I can win, you can't, or like if all of us are playing a game, like the resources are limited. And I think a lot of people, I don't know, today we have this misconception, and the thing is, no system's ever going to be perfect, right? So let's take capitalism for example. um, are there benefits? Yeah, obviously there's benefits. If you live in America compared to anywhere else in the world, you're going to see the benefits of capitalism, right? We have excess of material goods or excess of just production. That's the thing. And in other countries that don't have that system or are tainted by other problems, I'm not going to just go into just like one problem in particular, but it's you could see the difference. But does that mean that the type of capitalism we have is 110% perfect? No. Is there always room for improvement? Yeah, you can't. Nothing is absolute, and we shouldn't view the world like that. But this is going to be, and I'm kind of defending capitalism because I kind of feel like we've lost our way in the sense of, you need to understand is like when you invest your capital, you're looking at what we talked about, time value of money, right? We're looking at the return of it, right? So essentially, people that are wealthy, they continue to deploy capital, and deploy, like put capital towards something that's going to bring them more capital back. And that's called efficiency. That's how economies work. We want efficiency. We want to be able to give a dollar, get 10 cents back. You wouldn't want to give a dollar to somebody and lose 10 cents a year to it's to zero, right? Because then screw that. I'd rather consume something myself, right? I'd rather go out and buy a candy bar with that dollar or something else that I'd be able to enjoy instead of being able to put it to work. So that make money, that become extremely wealthy, for the majority part, there's outliers, of course, but even those people dated back, they come from old money. Somebody down the family line put in the time, put in the effort, put in the energy, made the money, and made it work, and became productive, right? If you look at Bill Gates, for example, and he's done great work, right? Like even now, like after he's made his billions, like trying to eradicate diseases and trying to do all these positive things in the world. But some would argue, and I would too, that he was better served to society to continue to use his brain and to dominate. Um, and what do I mean by that? Like, what are you talking about? Like, he's helping billions of people now, and he's eradicating diseases, but at the same time, if you look at the quality of life that he's been able to produce, think about all the people that have made millions and millions, and I'd argue even trillions of dollars off of what he helped create, right? So think about how many businesses out there use Excel, use Microsoft Word, use PowerPoint, and just use the Windows system in general. How many people in India now that are uprooting their lives, that are coming up in that societal structure, because they're being able to outsource and being able to handle data, and how many programs and other crazy things were able to, I mean, literally, like Facebook and Instagram and even Google, like all these existed because the PC came together, because you have the software to run it, right? Firefox, and just, I'm just naming companies off the top of my head, but you get the picture, right? And all those people that he helped also created more jobs, and all those jobs he made has made everyone's lives more better. And those people have been able to donate more to philanthropy and in their own ways and be able to contribute to the world. That's made it a better place. So I think somewhere along the line, capitalism just got bashed because we just see, oh, the greedy 1%. Well, yeah, I get your guys' frustration. I get the point too. Like, I was kind of pissed. Like, it's not true capitalism when you had a government bail you out, and we have friends and family that lost jobs and lost homes in 08 and 09 and 2010, even up until then. And you see these other people get bailouts and they pay themselves like that. That's crazy. That is corrupt. It needs to be called out and it needs to be fixed. That needs to change. But at the fundamental level, capitalism is deploying capital. That's the name of the game, and that's the point of this video. Is you need capital to start. Anyone that tells you, oh, you could start with no money down or zero or this and that, it's kind of full of crap, right? What we talked about earlier was, in the other videos we talked about, you need to either get your skill set up to earn more an hour to then live a lower life to get that extra money to invest it, to grow it, because your investments will always grow. you can only work for so long, right? And the same thing works for capital. Like, to be in capitalism, you need capital, you need money to invest. And some would say, well, what about your real estate investments? Like, how much would you want to invest? And you know, disclaimer is not financial advice. This is just my opinion speaking. Do your own research on it, whatever. I don't want to come back at me and people say, well, you said do that, do this, but like, for example, it really depends on your profile, right? If you're going to talk to a financial advisor, they're going to be like, basic questions. What's your risk tolerance? Like, are you able to stomach stuff? Like, if you had $10,000 and you see, you put it into stocks and bonds or whatever, and you see the market dip to 5,000, would you immediately say, buy 5,000 more? Or would you say, oh my God, the sky's falling, pull out my five and cut out? Or would you say, I trust my fundamental analysis, and you know what, it's fine, things go up and down. Same thing goes for real estate. Based off your risk asset, there's going to be certain ventures that you're going to want to do that are more safe and solid for you and slow and steady. And there's going to be some ventures that are like, hey, it's going to leave you stressed out and capped out. Because it is a little bit overwhelming when you work really, really hard for your money. And, the goal of it is instead of taking that vacation, instead of buying that toy hauler, instead of, buying that nice bag, for, whatever, or that new piece of clothing or whatever, you decided to save it. You decided to say, hold on, wait, I don't want to deploy this capital right now because it'd be better used later on in my life if I deploy it towards an investment. And it's scary to think that, hey, you might lose it, right? So it really comes down to your tolerance, but when we focused on earlier was you got to figure out a way how to get your capital up. And at first it needs to be able to invest in yourself. I guess technically this would be one of the things you do is you're deciding to spend your time watching this to get some type of knowledge. Like if you spent 20 minutes watching this, 10 minutes watching my videos, and you gained one or two things, I think you'll be better off in the long run. If you compound that over the course of 10 years, 10's a lot, but you get the picture, 10 years, 15 years, you're going to build this knowledge up, and you're going to, you're going to wait for your opportunity to strike, and you're going to be better off in later on in life, right? But it's about time, it's about patience, and like I said, anyone could be a billionaire if we had enough time, right? The name of the game is to be able to deploy it and gain it back quickly as possible. So you need patience, you need sacrifice, and the patience and sacrifice means you hold yourself back and you save capital, so then you could deploy the capital, right? So that was the point of this whole video right now, is just just try to be realistic in the sense, right? And not to bash capital. It's like we look at people that have it, and sometimes in life we get confused because, and it happens to me, I get it too. I'm like, oh man, like I'm only this, I'm only 28 and I only have this many properties, I'm only making X amount, and it's like, oh man, it's not enough. And then sometimes we lose perspective that where where we are, the whole point of this isn't to beat the next door neighbor. It isn't to beat the guy down the street or your high school enemy or whatever. The whole point of this is to make sure that you and your family are taken care of in the future. You guys are being able to be set, and you're being able to enjoy more time with the people you love, your friends, your family. It's not about being in a race with somebody else. Who cares if somebody has a gazillion, trillion, $billion, right? If you had $1 million yourself to spend and you're able to enjoy that time with your friends and your family, that's worth more to you than any amount of money. The money is just a resource for you to get the time, right? So capitalism sometimes gets a bad name because we look at what other people have and we just think, oh my God, they're just blowing these millions. And it's like, yeah, I get the other argument of it, right? I get the argument of people saying, well, this dude has, let's just say hypothetically $10 billion. Well, why does he need another yacht? Wouldn't that $10 billion be better spent towards, Bill Gates eradicating diseases? Or wouldn't it be better spent giving it to the homeless or educating people? I mean, that's a bigger philosophy of like an idealisticology, like an idealistology of like a perfect society, right? But we live in a market where, we take risks, we deploy our capital, we get our capital, and it's like, imagine how much risk you'd be taking off. You worked 10 years to save $50,000, and you went and you bought a house and as an investment property. You waited another 10 years for it to be developed up, then you pulled capital out and you got it all back, and someone comes along and says, well, you already have one house paid, or two houses, because you live in one, you have a rental. You really don't need the other one. We're just going to take it from you. That'd suck, right? And people will say, well, that's not going to happen, so I'll never be that rich. But it's the fundamental principle, right? We can't just give up and say, oh, just get them because it doesn't matter to us, right? Because we're not there yet. It's if the government or the people, because the government is just essentially people, right? If people decide that they could take away from that, it's only a matter of time for they take away from you. They take away from you, then what's the point of all this? Why don't we just splurge and do whatever? And the reason why that's bad is because we won't have innovation, we won't have growth, we won't have people saying, hey, I'm willing to risk this capital because I see the reward at the end. If they know the reward is always going to be taken away from them, then we're not going to get iPhones, we're not going to get Ubers, we're not going to get Lyfts, we're not going to get these companies being made, and we're not going to get investments like ours. Like, people look at landlords and say, well, you're a slumlord, all you do is you collect rents. And it's like, that's the furthest thing from the truth, man. Like, is it a lot of work? Is it a lot of headache? No, it is a lot of stress in the beginning if you don't have capital and you're putting your neck out there and you're trying to do better for yourself, right? Because think about when you own a house, right? And you rent a house from somebody. And if the roof is leaking, right, or the plumbing doesn't work, or something's broken, the landlord needs to fix it. If he doesn't, he or she is going to get sued, right? You're going to be able to go to small claims. You're going to lose a tenant, and you're still going to have to fix it because no one's going to move in to do it. Think about all the people that get employed. Like, for me, when I did that, the latest project I did was the trailer project, right? I mean, I employed those 4 people, but what about all the county workers for the inspection, and the people that I got to come in separate to do the power panel, and the people that I got in separate to come in and fix the plumbing, and the people that I got in to actually put the trailer there, and just all those people is people you employed. And even going forward, when little things break, things are going to happen, I'm going to be the one that's employing them. Yeah, I'm holding the capital, right? But I'm making it effective. And then what's the service I'm providing is I just created a new housing place for a family or a single person or somebody to stay and utilize. And you're getting paid to maintain, right? So you'll be able to make that return, but it's not always all your money. That's the thing, is you always have to give and take. And the biggest thing about it is you just can't let your lifestyle go above your means. So, like, if you start making 100K a year, you shouldn't live like you're making 100. You try to make it look like you're making 70. If you're making 40K now and you start making 50, you should still try to live like you're making 40. That's your gap. I'm getting off topic, but back to the main thing is you're not. It's about deploying capital. It's either it's in real estate, and eventually if you build enough of it, and if it gets passed on to my kids, I don't want someone to come along and say, well, screw that, that guy's kids, they just inherited all that. They got 100 units, they got 500 or 1,000 units. I'm trying to aim for the sky here, though, but whatever it is, and it's like, well, I'm the one who sacrificed because that's my bloodline. I did the work now, so they don't have to do it later. And the same thing, you as a viewer that's watching this, is you're going to work your tail off to be able to progress yourself and your future family, right? It's not fair that someone's going to come and take it. And I'm acting like I have it. I really don't have it like that. I'm just trying to put this this ideology out there, and I think it's been lost on the American public. I mean, we used to be, even in the 90s when I grew up, I used to watch people and I'd be like, oh my God, like, not, oh, why does that person have that? Or why don't I have it? Like, I don't know if Instagram has something to do with it or whatever, but I used to be like, wow, I can't wait to figure out how to do that one day. I can't wait to be able to buy my own Benz one day, or not just materialistic, or to like recreate something my own. Like, the point of us having to worry about someone else, we don't want to put that energy there. We don't. Let's put our energy towards this positive stuff. Let's put the energy towards thinking, okay, I'm working this minimum wage job. What classes can I take? What craft can I learn to get my skills up? What side hustle can I do? Can I sell some stuff, on the internet? Can I sell some stuff on Craigslist or whatever to get my cash up, to be able to take that money to invest, to either scale that side hustle to make more than my part-time job, or to help pay for school, or to learn another trade that will make me more, so then I could take that excess money. If you focus your energy on that, like, you're going to be better off for it, right? And the quickest way, not the quickest, but I guess the best way to become like a billionaire or multimillionaire is you need to figure out, what it is that people want, what it is people need. And that's why real estate's solid and it works, because it's one of the things that people are going to need forever, right? People are always going to need a roof over their head to stay. And there's always going to be a market out there for it, right? If you're creating a product, if you're creating a brand, whatever, you got to figure out, like, is it something that people want? Is it something that people need? And if people genuinely need it or want it, then you're going to be successful. It's really that simple, but it's really complex, right? There's a lot of more effort and energy that goes into it. But, keeping it realistic, like, you might ask the question, like, well, how much do I need to start off in the real estate game? Like, those guys that say, well, 0 down or whatever credit. The first thing you're going to need is a decent paying job, man. You're going to need income, and that's plain and simple, right? No one is just going to give you like a house for nothing. No one's going to give you anything for nothing. Nothing in this My dad said it very famously. He's like, when people used to walk into our shop, and like, "Hey,